everyone, my name is Alexis Swenson, and in this video I'm going to talk about what a day in the life for a grant writer looks like. For me, in this season of my life with a 3-month-old baby girl, flexibility is key. So I try my very best to go into each day with an attitude that is willing to be flexible and okay with things maybe not going quite as efficiently as they used to go for me. So that's the first thing I do when I am thinking about starting my day or having a good day. The next thing I do as I'm looking forward to the next day is to look at Asana, which is a project management tool. I review all the tasks that I need to get done that week and identify the 3 big tasks that I want to accomplish the next day. Then I also write those 3 big tasks down on a piece of paper so that I'm really just that much more oriented with what I want to accomplish the following day. The next thing I do is try my darndest to get a great night's sleep. Again, not always possible, but I do my very best to set myself up for success in that arena. And then the next day, I try to wake up at the same time every day. This just helps with your circadian rhythm and just kind of helps make sure that you have a good routine for your week and for your day. So I say I wake up at 6 a.m. most days. My morning routine is super important to me, so that sometimes looks like a workout, I'll journal, maybe read my Bible. And I always have breakfast with my husband. We try to do like a high protein breakfast, lots of eggs to get my brain ready to work for the day. And then if I have time too, I like to read a professional development book, just like a chapter in it or 10-15 minutes. Maybe it's a book for the Grant Writing Unicorn Collective, or it's just a different book that I'm reading that I find interesting. I have childcare lined up a few days a week, so I have someone coming in to my home from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And so on those days, as soon as that person arrives, I immediately get to work because I don't want to waste this precious time that I have with someone helping me with my kiddo. So in line with utilizing that time well, I do my best to sort of ritualize my workspace. So that looks like keeping my desk tidy and organized, very orderly. It just helps me to think better when there's white space and not a lot of like extra papers around or things like that. There are a few other things I do to help me get into the mindset of work. Maybe that's having a hot cup of tea or a diffuser going with some of my, some essential oils that smell good or something like that. I always have a big jug of water right next to me, so I can just drink that instead of having to fill up my water glass 8 times during this 5-hour work period. And for other people, I know sometimes having a candle is helpful for them in their workspace. So just doing something special like that to make, this designated workspace and this designated work time all the more meaningful and relevant and efficient for you. As far as getting into my work tasks, the first thing I try to do is the thing that I want to do the least, or the thing that will be the hardest for me. Typically that does include writing, but sometimes it might be research. If I'm really not feeling the research thing, then that is probably what I should be doing first, just to get it done, get it out of the way, especially because it needs to get done. And then I try my hardest, again, not to look at email for the first, hour-ish or so of my work time, because it's a time suck, right? You open one email, then you click on a link, and you click on another link, and soon you're reading about oceanic mysteries. And how did we get here? It's because of the email. So I try not to look at email. Depending on the day, I might log into a coaching call offered through the Grant Writing Unicorn Collective, or if I'm stuck, I'm having some issues with the research I'm doing for a client, or I have a question on a grant application, or whatever it might be, I might post a question asking for help in the collective in Circle, our community group, and hopefully, I wait for people to respond and then we can work through that problem or that issue together. As far as scheduling calls and meetings, I try my best to kind of push those all onto, either the afternoons or when I have childcare, or just on a certain day or days of the week. That helps to kind of keep them all together versus having, 3 or 4 calls one day and then another like the next day. It just keeps them all together and grouped together so that I'm in that same mind space, and I don't have to be constantly switching to a different context so often. And a pro tip there is to use Calendly, because then you don't have to do that email thing again, back and forth, like, oh, what day are you available? I'm available Central Time from 11 to 4, and this person's available Eastern Standard Time from 2 to 3. So it just kind of cuts out all the guesswork there, and the person you're trying to meet with can just click on the time that works best for them, and you already know that you're available. I always try to do something fun. I always try to get outside. So I can maybe do that in the later afternoon, or sometimes I'll do this in the early morning, just because I love being outside and it's good for me to get a break that way. Maybe I'll work out or go for a walk or take the stroller out or whatever it may be, just to like get out and kind of have some time to myself and breathe in the fresh air and just feel the sunshine on my face. And maybe I'll do a late night work session. Usually I don't do a late night work session, but that's purely because I just hate working at night. My brain doesn't work quite as well at night. So if I really need to hunker down and get something done, what I typically will do is just set my alarm for an hour or two earlier than my normal wake up time, and that's how I do my extra work time. I just think better in the mornings. So that's kind of just like a brief overview of what a day in the life might look like for me. Again, every day is different, and it's really helpful for me to have an attitude of flexibility and being willing to make changes on the fly. But generally, in an ideal world, an ideal day might look something like what I just described. So your day will look totally different too, depending on your life situation and what your needs and wants are. But this is just one example of what a day in the life could look like for a grant writer.